Okay guys, so in this video I'm explaining my own personal trading strategy that actually makes me consistent profits of 10 to 80% per trade with a very little risk and a very big profit rate. Okay, but I advise you though, this is very boring, so if you don't have attention and patience, don't watch this video. Click off right now because you're not going to make money with this. You need to have patience and dedication. Two most important things. Now let's get into it. It's very easy to learn, even for beginners. Only two things you need is understanding of human psychology and technical analysis. Okay, very easy, and exactly that I'm gonna teach you in this video. So if you are a beginner, don't worry, I'm gonna teach you all of that in this video. Now, quick profits, like I already said, 10, 30, 60%, even more per trade, with the max loss of 10 to 25%. Not really big, you know. It's been only a few times that my trades have hit the stop loss. Usually it's always profits. Okay, so profits with this strategy is guaranteed. You can build up your board from literally to $10 to 10k. Okay, I'm not even kidding. If you dedicate to it, if you have patience, it's easily doable. All you have to do is understand how it works and you're good to go. So from my experience, it's the only one that works because I've watched dozens of YouTubers who say that they know what they're doing, who say that this is the only way to get rich with meme coins, but when I try them, they don't work. Okay, so this is the only one that works. Why? Because it uses human psychology and technical analysis. You don't need to speculate. You don't need to speculate if the coin hits, I don't know, 100x or whatever, a 10x. You don't need that. You don't need. It's just waste of your, I don't know, waste of your brain, waste of your knowledge. Just focus on these two things, and you're making shit ton of money with meme coins. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so I personally use a text screener for this the most because all the coins are very easy to see from here. I personally like to use text screener more for this. Of course, you can use your trading platform or Axiom or any other platform you're using, but text screener is the most convenient for that. So again, I'm not gonna give you any filters in here and say like you need these filters to for this strategy to work. No, you don't. All right, don't put any filters. Only thing you have to do is put the volume, right? So volume from down to, well, I mean from up to down. All right. So the tokens with the most volume are at the top. All right. Now, what do we have to do? Oh, actually, okay, one thing you can do is put the platform on Solana, alright? We don't want to see no other coins, alright? So, okay, let's start with this. Take the first token. Now, zoom out in the chart, okay? We can see that this is a pretty okay token, alright? We don't see not many red flags. We can see it's a safe token. It's not a rock pull, alright? So what you wanna do here is that, like, let's take this place here, for example, right? You can see it peaked on 6 million market cap, right? Top tier. Now, you have to focus on what happened before it hit the top, alright? This strategy, we are not getting in here, alright? You can never predict when a coin, pumps like that. Very hard to predict, and you're risking 80% loss with this, speculation. So, in my opinion, it's not wise to do that. Now, what you want to do is every token has pullbacks, alright? If a coin tops at 6 million and you see, like, let's say, you're seeing it at here, right? You can see it's having a pullback. Then uh, then we can predict where the pullback is going to be, and actually it's not hard to do. Okay, let me introduce to you order blocks. Okay, it's not about the order blocks. It can be a previous high, right? For example, here, but this pumped way more, so this is kind of relevant right now. So we can see that there are two red candles in the way, right? When it pumped, we made a resistance here because red candles show that people are selling. So when it's pumping, then people are taking profits, aka selling, in the middle, right? And we can see it here. So draw a rectangle from the top of the red candle to the bottom. Okay, extend it and boom, what can we see? Now let's take this order block, right? It's usually always the lower one, right? Of course, you have to look at the percentages. Usually the dip is 63%. Okay, we can see it's exactly at 63% down. Alright, it's usually about 50, 55 to maybe even about 70. So meaning you have to take the order block that is closest to these percentages. We can see that 63% is perfect, and we can see that the order block is exactly lining up with this one. So you can already see where I'm going with this. You can see that it tipped exactly at this token, alright? And you're probably saying that, Rose, but how do you know that it's going to go up, right? Yeah, it might have like a little resistance, but how do you know that it's not going straight through it? Because when a token makes a peak at 6 million, then people are going to be buying in again. Whales are going to be buying in again, including regular meme coin traders, including you when you can time the tip. Meaning, so okay, we can see it checked two boxes. Okay, we can see that it topped at 6.3 mil, came back exactly at 33%. Very sweet spot for a quick scalp. Alright, now we can see the order block again is lining up exactly here. Now let's take this and let's see what would our risk be and what our profits would be. Okay, so if you are entering at this trade, you are not just buying and then hoping it would, you know, go up, right? You have to set your targets before, right? So, meaning, if it went here, I would put my buy order at about 2.4. Let's be, realistic. We can never time exactly the bottom, but we can get pretty close to it. So let's put it at 2.4. Now we're putting a buy order here. Then you're putting stop loss because you never know what's going to happen. Alright? Meme coins are volatile. The chances of this going, just going past it is very low. Okay, but you still need a stop loss just in case, because if you don't have a stop loss, then you're gambling. Alright? You need to consider the risks before you take the trade. So I would put a stop loss to the previous round number. So the round number is 2 mil, right? I'm putting it a little bit lower, so maybe even 1.95, something like this. You can be more, you could put it at 2.11 because it's below 2.2, alright? But let's be safe and let's put it on 1.95. Now we can see that we're risking 18%. And what would our gains be? Now, I'm not gonna be unrealistic with you and say that, oh yeah, look, you could have made whatever is that, 80% gain, alright? If you sold here, alright? You can't you can't in any way predict that, alright? If I were in this trade, I would have put then my profit taking about somewhere, wait, let's see. We can see that there's a resistance line here, right? And we can see there is one over here. Okay, meaning I would have maybe sold a little bit at here at 27, and if I see it having more volume, more movement, then I'm taking the rest of it here. So boom, you can see I just made 43%. Okay, let's say 40. I just made 40% and risking 18%. And I wouldn't even call it a risk, because a bump at this stage is like, it's almost guaranteed, alright? You can see that, alright? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem like, a trade-worthy situation, because, you usually, all these YouTubers say to you that you have to buy here, alright? And then sell at here. And that's a 3x, alright? This right here seems even easy. This even seems easy to make and not hard at all. talking about this, you could have actually aimed this same buy here too. Alright, you can see that. Or it pounced on it one time, and boom, you could have made the second trade and gotten, even 3x if you would have held that long. Now let's take the token named Poop. Alright, it's a few days old. Again, an established token with a lot of volume. Well, right now it has pumped, okay, but let's take it a bit back. Let's take it about here. Okay, so I'm just trying to show you as many examples as possible to show you how easy it is. Okay, so if you move on to 30-minute chart, yo, my bad. Okay, let's go back to 50. Okay, so we can see here. Okay, we can see it first pumped to about 300k market cap, 250, right? Consolidated, 10 pumped. All right. Now, let me remind you, we are not catching these pumps. All right, because they're very hard to predict and they're very unrational in terms of risk reward. So we can see that these red candles here clearly show some resistance. Okay, we can see that the 400k market cap is a resistance because when it pumped, then it came back a bit, pumped, came back a bit again, and then pumped some more. Now it is setting a resistance at 800k, later even 1 million. But the thing is that this here, right? We can see, we can take that one candle or all of these and pull it back here, and boom. Now we can see it did the high. Let's see how many percentages it came down. Let me. Okay, so we can see, we can draw it about right here. Boom. And what did I say before? 60 to 63%. Again, almost perfect. It's usually always the 60% rate, and coincidentally, well, and as you can see, the order block is exactly at this range, which means it's a good time to enter. Okay, so I would take entries usually round numbers. Okay, so we can see like a 350. All right, usually I'd put my order about maybe 365 or maybe 370 even. Let's take this one. Again, I would put a stop loss maybe at 290. So we're risking 20% with this one, with a potential gain. If we're talking about all the all-time highs, we could even get a 2x. Okay, or we could get 30%. That's up to you. How much profit are you wanting to take? Okay, because stop loss, that is pretty much necessary. Okay, so I would put a stop loss at around here, but profits, it's everyone's own choice how much they wanna, risk taking, how much, how greedy they wanna get. I personally would have put it around at 24%, maybe even like 30, because we can see that there is a resistance here. Okay, but you could always get more, and as you can see with this trade, you could have gotten even 100%. Okay, very very good considering you're risking only 20%, and the pump is basically guaranteed. Now I'm gonna talk to you about the mistakes to avoid, because when I started, finding strategies that would actually work, alright, then I did a lot of these mistakes. I did all of these mistakes, and in return, I lost a lot of money and wasted a lot of time I could have been making money. Okay, so these are the mistakes I see a lot of beginners make with this strategy. Okay, first of all, only trade established coins. Okay, don't trade tokens which have like a sub 100k market cap. You don't want to trade coins that the chart is looking weird, that the volume is bad, things like these that just look weird. Okay, you don't have to take a trade with every coin. Only take trades with tokens that are actually established. It would be better if there were even like an actual community for the token, meaning people would actually push it while you are just getting in and out of the coin. You're not a long-term holder. Now, one of these things are 1 to 3 days old minimum. Okay, so I'm talking about the token. Token age should be at least 1 day, at least 3 days, I would even say. The older it is, and the more volume it has, and the higher market cap it has, the better it is. Okay, if you trade only established tokens with these, you are going to make profits with this strategy. There's no question about it. Good volume, of course, depending on the token market cap, but it shouldn't be a dead coin. Okay, because volume drives the price up. If there's no volume, the price won't go up. Okay, now don't rush into trades. Okay, because I see a lot of people doing this, and myself included. I used to did it, a lot of time. When I rushed into trades, I thought that this was the token. I had to make this trade, even though the chart looked weird, and even though I was like impatient. Okay, I didn't have patience. I just looked at the coin, and then I was in the mentality of I had to do the trade. Okay, don't take these trades. Only take the trade when you're almost certain that it will go up. Because if you don't, if you're just blindly, following my strategy, and you might even hit a few profits, then if you rush into trades and don't do proper research on the token, then you are going to almost lose money with it, guaranteed. Okay, so the last thing is dedication. Okay, the most important thing, dedicate to your strategy. If you choose, you wanna try this strategy, or you want to actually make consistent profits with any other strategy. Okay, I don't care which one it is. I don't care if it's your strategy. I don't care if it's some other YouTuber strategy. Dedicate to it. Okay, if you have a strategy you're working on right now, don't watch this video and say, okay, I'm gonna go to that now. Okay, try your strategy, dedicate to it, and then see if it works, see if it doesn't, and then move on. You can't expect to make money if you're not even willing to dedicate to strategies or whatever you're really doing. Okay, because if you're not dedicating, then you're not giving your 100%. If you're not giving your 100%, then you're not going to get what you want. Okay, you have to be passionate about it, you have to dedicate to it, and trust me, the money will come. Okay, you will succeed, and you will get these consistent profits. Okay, so the video is getting kinda long, 20 minutes in. If you watch this video till the end, if you're still watching this video as I speak right now, bro, you're already ahead of 90. Now, try this strategy, see if it works. Definitely let me know in the comments. Of course, even a like, if you put a like on this video, it would already help me out a ton. Although, if you already watched this video till the end, 20 minutes in, then bro, you're already doing me a big favor, giving me watch time, views, etc, etc. Make sure to subscribe, and guys, the private trading group where I post my, where I follow this strategy and post my trades before I've made them. Okay, so I'm telling you guys when I'm making this trade, and then I'm saying to you, okay, I'm entering now, blah blah blah. When I'm selling, where I'm putting my stop loss, where I'm putting my take profits, etc, etc. All of this will be discussed in the Telegram trading group below. Check that out. I'm looking forward to see you there, and peace.